On the night of March 13th, radar screens across Israel suddenly lit up. Operators inside missile defense command centers saw something unusual. Not drones, not a few rockets, but wave after wave of fast-moving objects rising high above the atmosphere before diving toward Israeli territory. Within minutes, the scale of the attack became clear. Iran had launched 30 heavy ballistic missiles. It was one of the largest missile barrages in the conflict so far, and according to Iranian military officials, the missiles carried some of the heaviest warheads used in the war. The operation even had a name, the Night of Destiny. But the most controversial statement came after the missiles landed. A senior Iranian commander claimed something extraordinary. He said, Iran now had observation and control over parts of Israeli airspace, a claim that immediately triggered debate among military analysts. Because penetrating air defenses and controlling airspace are two very different things. To understand what really happened that night, you first have to understand the weapon Iran used. The missiles fired in the attack were believed to be the Kheibar Shekan missile. This missile represents one of the newest generations of Iran's ballistic weapons. It was first publicly unveiled in 2022 by Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. Unlike older missiles, the Kheibar Shekan uses solid fuel propulsion. That detail might sound technical, but it changes everything about how the missile is used. Liquid fuel missiles must be fueled shortly before launch. That process can take hours. During that time, satellites and surveillance aircraft can detect the launch site. Solid fuel missiles are different. They can remain fueled and ready inside mobile launchers for long periods. When the launch order arrives, the missile can be fired within minutes. That dramatically reduces warning time for defenders. The Kheibar Shekan also has a range of about 1,450 kilometers. That means it can reach any target inside Israel from launch sites in western Iran. But range is only one part of the threat. What really concerns missile defense engineers is the missile's behavior during its final moments of flight. Standard ballistic missiles follow a predictable arc. They launch upward into space, travel along a ballistic path, and then fall back toward Earth. Because the trajectory is predictable, missile defense systems can calculate exactly where the warhead will be, and that allows interceptors to destroy the missile before it reaches its target. But the Kheibar Shekan uses something more advanced, a maneuverable re-entry vehicle. In military terms, this is known as a MARV. Instead of simply falling toward the target, the warhead can change direction during its descent. Even small adjustments at extremely high speed can throw off an interceptor's calculations. And at these speeds, the margin for error is tiny. To defend against ballistic missiles, Israel operates one of the most sophisticated air defense networks in the world. The system works in multiple layers. Short-range threats are handled by Iron Dome. Medium-range missiles are intercepted by David's Sling. And long-range ballistic missiles are targeted by the Arrow 3. The Arrow system is specifically designed to intercept missiles outside the atmosphere. It destroys incoming warheads in space before they can descend toward populated areas. In theory, this layered defense should provide strong protection. But missile defense has one fundamental limitation. It is extremely difficult to achieve 100% interception. Every incoming missile creates a complex tracking problem. Now imagine 30 of those problems arriving in waves within a single night. According to Iranian statements, the missile attack occurred in 3 separate waves: Wave 45, Wave 46, and Wave 47. Each wave targeted different locations across Israel. Some strikes reportedly targeted military facilities. Others were directed toward logistics, infrastructure, and air bases. One of the targets mentioned in reports was Nevatim Air Base, an important Israeli Air Force installation in the Negev desert. The purpose of launching missiles in waves is simple. It increases the pressure on missile defense systems. Each interceptor launched by Israel costs millions of dollars. Defense batteries carry only a limited number of interceptors ready to fire. If enough missiles arrive simultaneously, the system can be forced to choose which targets to intercept. This strategy is known as saturation. It is designed not necessarily to overwhelm defenses completely, but to increase the chances that some missiles slip through. Iranian officials also made another claim. They said the missiles carried warheads weighing between 1 and 2 tons. However, many Western defense databases list the Kheibar Shekan's warhead weight at roughly 550 kilograms. That creates a large gap between the official Iranian claim and independent estimates. There are several possible explanations. One possibility is propaganda. In wartime, governments often exaggerate the power of their weapons to influence public perception. Another possibility is that a different missile type was used in the attack. Some analysts believe the heavier missile may have been the Khorramshahr 4 missile. This missile carries a much larger warhead. Estimates suggest a payload of up to 1,500 kilograms. If such missiles were involved in the strike, it would represent a significant escalation in destructive capability. After the attack, Iranian commanders made their most dramatic claim. They said Iran had gained control of parts of Israeli airspace. But in military terms, that statement requires careful interpretation. Airspace control normally means the ability to deny the enemy the use of the sky. This usually involves fighter aircraft, radar networks, and surface-to-air missile systems dominating a region. But the evidence from the battlefield tells a different story. Israeli aircraft continue to operate. Airstrikes against regional targets have continued, and Israeli radar and missile defense networks remain active. That suggests something different. Iran successfully penetrated Israeli air defenses, but penetration is not the same as control. A missile that reaches its target has entered the airspace, but it does not mean the attacker controls that sky. Even so, the scale of the attack sends a clear strategic signal. Iran has launched dozens of missile waves during the conflict. Each wave tests Israel's defenses. Each wave consumes interceptor missiles. And each wave gathers data about how the defense network responds. In military terms, this can become a war of attrition. Missile defenses are expensive. Interceptors must constantly be replaced, and maintaining a high readiness level puts enormous pressure on operators. Perhaps the most concerning part of the story is what has not happened yet. Some analysts believe Iran still holds its heaviest missile systems in reserve, weapons capable of carrying even larger warheads, missiles capable of traveling faster, farther, and potentially evading interception. If those weapons are deployed at scale, the challenge facing missile defenses could become even greater. For now, the events of March 13th show something important. Modern warfare is increasingly shaped by long-range missiles, weapons launched hundreds of kilometers away, reaching targets within minutes. And every new missile launch forces defenders to answer a difficult question. How many threats can a defense system stop before something eventually gets through? Because in the age of ballistic missiles, the battle for the sky begins long before the first aircraft ever takes off.